The message arrived on a Tuesday. Ambassador Olivia Grant was reviewing trade proposals in her office at the United Earth Embassy when her assistant buzzed her. "Ma'am, there's a priority transmission from the Galactic Concord." Olivia straightened her jacket and cleared her desk display. "Put it through." The holographic projection flickered to life, revealing the elongated, silver-skinned face of Ambassador Zextil, the Concord's chief diplomatic officer. "Ambassador Grant," the alien said, blinking its 4 eyes in sequence. A gesture Olivia had learned indicated formal respect. "The Galactic Concord extends an invitation to Earth to participate in the Centennial Peace Summit." Olivia maintained her diplomatic smile, but her heart raced. This was big. The Concord, comprising 17 advanced alien civilizations, only held these major summits once every 100 years. Earth, having achieved faster-than-light travel just 30 years ago, was still considered the new kid on the galactic block. "We are honored by the invitation, Ambassador Zextil," she replied. "Earth looks forward to participating." The alien made a flowing gesture with its upper limbs. "As is tradition, all member and invited species are expected to send both diplomatic and military representatives. This allows for comprehensive dialogue on both peaceful cooperation and security concerns." Olivia's smile didn't falter, though inside she felt a twinge of concern. "I will convey this to my government immediately. Thank you for the invitation." After the transmission ended, Olivia sat back in her chair, fingers tapping her desk. The request for military representatives was standard protocol for these summits, but it posed a unique problem for Earth. 2 hours later, Olivia stood before the United Earth Security Council in their New Geneva headquarters. The chamber's curved walls displayed the flags of Earth's former nations, now united under a single government for 50 years. "The invitation is a significant opportunity," she explained. "But there's a complication. The Concord expects military representatives." Admiral Frank Daniels, head of Earth's Space Defense Force, immediately shook his head. The older man's weathered face hardened, the scars from the Mars colony wars more visible when he frowned. "That's not happening," he said flatly. "We don't bring our military to peace summits ever." "With respect, Admiral," Olivia replied, "this is standard diplomatic protocol for the Concord. Every other species will have military representatives." "I'm aware," Admiral Daniels said, "and the answer remains no." Secretary General Lakshmi Patel raised her hand to quiet the murmurs around the table. "Ambassador Grant, you're relatively new to extraterrestrial diplomacy. This policy predates your appointment. It has been Earth's stance since our first contact with alien life." Olivia looked around the room. "May I ask why?" "It puts us at a diplomatic disadvantage." The council members exchanged glances. Finally, Secretary General Patel spoke. "The reason is classified beyond your current clearance level. You'll simply need to inform the Concord that Earth will send an expanded diplomatic team instead." After the meeting, Olivia walked through the rain-slicked streets of New Geneva, frustrated. The summit was 3 weeks away, and she'd be going, in blind, to a major point of potential conflict. As Earth's lead representative, she needed to understand this policy. She stopped at a small cafe overlooking Lake Geneva and called an old friend. Peter Walsh appeared on her portable screen, his apartment visible in the background. He looked like he'd just woken up, his red hair sticking up at odd angles. "Liv? It's nearly midnight here. Sorry, Peter, I need your help with something sensitive." Peter had been an intelligence analyst before retiring 2 years ago after an injury. More importantly, he still had friends in all the right departments. "You've got that look," he said, rubbing his eyes. "The one that got us in trouble at university. This is important. Have you ever heard of something called Protocol Prometheus?" Peter's expression changed subtly. "Where did you hear that name?" "I saw it on a file during the Security Council meeting. It seemed connected to our policy on military representatives at peace summits." Peter glanced around as if checking who might be listening. "Not over an open line, Liv. Meet me tomorrow at the old boathouse, 1900 hours." The next evening, Olivia made her way to the boathouse near Peter's childhood home in rural Vermont. The wooden structure sat on the edge of a small lake, looking much as it had when they spent summers there in their youth. Peter was waiting inside, a portable scrambler active on the worn wooden table. "You're diving into deep waters, Liv," he said as she sat across from him. "Protocol Prometheus is highly classified. It dates back to our first extraterrestrial diplomatic mission." "What happened on that mission?" Olivia asked. The official. "Records are heavily redacted, but I've pieced together some information." Peter activated a small projection device. "Earth's first contact occurred 50 years ago. We sent both civilian and military representatives to meet with delegates from 3 alien species. Something went wrong," Olivia guessed. "Yes, but not in the way you might think. No violence occurred. In fact, by all accounts, the initial meetings were proceeding well. Then, suddenly, the aliens requested the immediate removal of all human military personnel. They seemed frightened." Olivia frowned. "Frightened of what?" "That's the question. After that incident, Earth adopted the policy of never bringing military representatives to peace summits." "There must be more to it," Olivia insisted. "There is. I've tracked down someone who was there. Captain Sofia Rodriguez. She's retired now, living on the lunar colony. She might be willing to talk to you." "Why would she talk to me when this is so classified?" Peter's expression grew serious. "Because the summit is approaching and you need to know what you're walking into. Also, there's something else you should know." He pulled up another file on his device. "Deputy Secretary Howard Manning believes Earth should follow standard protocol and bring military representatives this time. He's been arguing that our policy is outdated and makes us look weak. Word is he's assembling his own delegation." Olivia stood up sharply. "He can't do that. It contradicts direct orders from the Security Council. He has powerful supporters who think Earth needs to show more backbone. If you want to stop him, you need to understand why this policy exists in the first place." Olivia nodded, determination setting in. "Then I need to speak with Captain Rodriguez. Can you arrange transport to the lunar colony?" "Already done," Peter said, handing her a small data chip. "Your shuttle leaves in 3 hours. Be careful. Live." Whatever caused Earth to adopt this policy, it was significant enough to classify it beyond even your clearance level. As Olivia left the boathouse, the setting sun cast long shadows across the lake. She had 3 weeks to uncover a 50-year-old secret and prepare for the most important diplomatic event in Earth's brief interstellar history. And somewhere out there, Howard Manning was potentially undermining everything, without even knowing the true stakes. The lunar shuttle docked with a gentle thud. Olivia stepped onto the surface of Earth's only natural satellite, now home to nearly 40,000 people. The colony stretched beneath its transparent dome, a maze of white buildings and narrow streets. Lunar gravity made her movements feel strange as she walked to the transport station. She checked her personal device for the address Peter had given her. Captain Sofia Rodriguez lived in the quieter southern district, away from the busier commercial zones. 20 minutes later, Olivia stood before a small white house with blue trim. It looked like it had been transported directly from an Earth suburb, complete with a small garden of specialized lunar plants. She pressed the door signal and waited. The door slid open to reveal a woman in her 70s. Despite her age, Sofia Rodriguez stood straight, her posture revealing her military background. Her dark eyes studied Olivia with suspicion. "Ambassador Grant," she said, her voice surprisingly strong. "Your friend Peter said you would come, though he didn't say why an Earth ambassador would travel all this way to speak with a retired captain." "May I come in?" Olivia asked politely. Sofia hesitated, then stepped aside. "I suppose so." The inside of the house was simple but comfortable. Pictures lined the walls, Sofia in her uniform, standing with various crews over the years. Olivia noticed one photo partially hidden behind others. It showed a much younger Sofia with a group of officers and strange, tall aliens. "The first contact mission," Sofia said, noticing Olivia's gaze. "Before everything changed." "That's why I'm here," Olivia said, taking a seat when Sofia gestured to a chair. "I need to understand what happened. Why does Earth refuse to send military representatives to peace summits? Sophia poured 2 cups of tea from a pot on the table. Why do you need to know? Because in 3 weeks I'm leading Earth's delegation to the Concord Centennial Summit. Deputy Secretary Manning is planning to bring military representatives against policy. I need to understand why that's dangerous. Sophia's hand trembled slightly as she set down her cup. Manning is a fool. He has no idea what he's risking. Then tell me, Olivia urged gently. Sophia was quiet for a long moment. What do you know about the psychological differences between humans and other sentient species? The question surprised Olivia. Not much. I know most spacefaring species evolved differently than we did. That's putting it mildly, Sophia said with a dry laugh. 50 years ago, I was a lieutenant on the first contact mission. We met representatives from 3 species, the Arcturians, the Tellurians, and the Vega Collective. She pointed to the photograph. Our delegation included diplomats, scientists, and military officers like myself. The meeting took place on a neutral station. Everything seemed to be going well. Then what happened? Olivia asked. On the 3rd day, the aliens brought in devices. Translators explained they were standard security measures, scanners that could detect emotional states and surface thoughts. We agreed to their use. Sophia's face darkened. That was our mistake. What did they detect? Nothing we did, but what we are. Sophia looked directly at Olivia. When they scanned our military personnel, they panicked. Within an hour, they demanded all military representatives leave immediately. They called us. I believe the closest translation was hidden predators. Olivia frowned. I don't understand. Neither did we at first, Sophia said. It took weeks of careful discussion to understand. You see, humans evolved differently from every other known intelligent species. Most evolved either as pure predators or as purely cooperative beings. Humans are both, cooperative predators. Sophia stood and walked to a shelf, retrieving an old data pad. This contains the classified psychological analysis. In simple terms, humans can switch from peaceful cooperation to lethal violence instantaneously. And more importantly, we can hide this capacity. She handed the pad to Olivia. Other species can't do this. Their military minds are always broadcasting aggressive intent. They can't help it. It's how they evolved. But humans, we can sit at a peace table, engage in friendly discussion, and simultaneously maintain complete readiness to attack if necessary. Olivia read through the data, her eyes widening. These scans show. They show that human military personnel are constantly maintaining what they called violence partitions in our minds. To other species, this appears as deception, as if we're hiding our true nature. It terrified them. Back in her lunar hotel room that night, Olivia couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about what Sophia had told her. According to the data, human brain patterns were unique in the galaxy. Humans could compartmentalize violence in a way no other species could understand or trust. Her device chimed. Peter was calling. Did you meet with Rodriguez? He asked when she answered. Yes. Peter, it's incredible. It's not about military protocols or weapons. It's about how our minds work. I managed to decrypt more of the Prometheus files, Peter said. The incident nearly caused an interspecies incident. 3 different civilizations threatened to cut off relations with Earth entirely. Because we scared them, Olivia said. Exactly. The Arcturians called humans wolves in wool. The final agreement that allowed relations to continue had one key provision. Earth would never bring military personnel to peace summits. Olivia rubbed her eyes. How did Manning get approval for his delegation? He didn't. He's going around official channels claiming Earth needs to assert itself. His ship leaves tomorrow. He's bringing 5 military officers with him. Olivia sat up straight. I need to stop him. If they show up at the summit with military personnel, it could undo 50 years of careful diplomacy, Peter finished for her. I've arranged transit back to Earth. You leave in 3 hours. 2 days later, Olivia rushed into the main launch terminal in New Geneva. She was too late. Manning's ship had already departed for Alpha Centauri, where the summit would be held. She slammed her fist against the wall in frustration, drawing stares from nearby travelers. Ambassador Grant? She turned to see Admiral Daniels standing behind her, his face grim. Admiral, Manning's delegation has already left. They're bringing military officers to the summit. I know, he said quietly. The Security Council has been informed. Then you understand the risk, Olivia said. We need to stop them before they reach Alpha Centauri. That won't be possible. Their ship is already in FTL transit. Then what do we do? The Admiral's expression was grave. We're sending you ahead of schedule. Your ship leaves in 1 hour. You'll arrive before the summit officially begins. Your mission is to contain the diplomatic damage when every alien species at that summit reacts to the presence of human military minds. How bad could it be? Olivia asked. The last time this happened, 2 species began mobilizing their defense fleets, Admiral Daniels said grimly. They thought we were planning an attack. As Olivia boarded her ship an hour later, she wondered how she would explain to 17 advanced alien civilizations that humans weren't dangerous predators hiding their violent nature, even though, in a way, that was exactly what they were. Olivia's ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Alpha Centauri with a flash of blue light. Through the viewport, she could see the massive Concord station. It looked like a spinning wheel with 5 spokes connecting to a central hub. Lights twinkled across its surface as ships of various designs moved around it. Ambassador, we're receiving a priority transmission from the station, the pilot said. The screen in front of Olivia flickered to life. The face of Zextil appeared, all 4 eyes blinking rapidly. A sign of distress, Olivia recalled from her diplomatic training. Ambassador Grant, we request your immediate presence. Your early arrival is fortunate. We have a situation. Olivia's heart sank. Deputy Secretary Manning's delegation has arrived. Yes, Zextil said, the silver skin around his mouth tightening. They were detected immediately. Several delegations are threatening to withdraw from the summit. I'll come directly. To the diplomatic level, Olivia promised. As her shuttle docked with the station, Olivia prepared herself. She had spent the entire journey studying the files Peter had sent her, learning everything she could about Protocol Prometheus and the psychological differences between humans and other species. The station's artificial gravity felt slightly stronger than Earth standard as she stepped into the main corridor. A tall blue-skinned Arcturian was waiting for her. Ambassador Grant, I am Kelrick's assistant to Ambassador Zextil. Please follow me quickly. They hurried through the curved corridors of the station. Aliens of various species moved aside, some watching Olivia with what she now recognized as wary expressions. News had traveled fast. Kelrick's led her to a large chamber where representatives from several species were gathered. Their voices rose in a cacophony of translated arguments. At the center stood Deputy Secretary Howard Manning, with 5 uniformed Earth military officers behind him. They were surrounded by security drones. This is outrageous, Manning was saying as Olivia entered. We came in peace. Your treatment of Earth's representatives is unacceptable. A tall, insect-like being clicked, its mandibles angrily. The translator converted the sounds. Your presence is deception. You bring predator minds hidden behind diplomatic faces. Deputy Secretary, Olivia called out, striding forward. Manning turned, relief washing over his face when he saw her. Ambassador Grant, thank goodness, please explain to these people that we mean no harm. What have you done? She asked quietly. Before Manning could answer, a group of 3 elderly aliens approached. They had long gray faces and moved with deliberate grace. Olivia recognized them as Tellurians, one of the oldest species in the Concord. Ambassador Grant, said the tallest one, I am Elder Vosh of the Concord Security Council. This situation requires immediate resolution. 2 member species have already departed the station. 3 more threaten to sever diplomatic relations with Earth entirely. I understand the seriousness, Elder Vosh, Olivia said with a respectful bow. May I speak with Deputy Secretary Manning privately before we proceed? The elder nodded. You may use the adjacent chamber, but be quick. The damage spreads with each passing moment. Guards escorted Olivia, Manning, and his military officers to a smaller room. As soon as the door closed, Olivia turned on Manning. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" she demanded. 50 years of careful diplomacy at risk because you couldn't follow protocol." Manning's face flushed with anger. "I was asserting Earth's right to equal representation. Every other species brings military advisors to these summits. The policy, making us the only exception, is outdated and makes us look weak." "The policy exists for a reason," Olivia said. She turned to the 5 officers who stood uncomfortably nearby. "All of you are broadcasting what other species perceive as predatory, intent hidden behind friendly faces." A young female officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, with respect, we've done nothing threatening. We've been perfectly cordial." "It's not what you've done," Olivia explained. "It's what you are." She activated her device and projected the brain scan, comparisons from the Prometheus files. Human minds, especially military minds, work differently than any other known species. We can compartmentalize violence in a way that appears as deception to them. She pointed to the swirling patterns on the display. "See these patterns? That's what their scanners detect from you. To them, it looks like you're hiding violent intentions while pretending to be peaceful." Manning stared at the display, his anger slowly fading to understanding. "They think we're lying predators?" "Exactly," Olivia said. "Every military officer here is capable of sitting peacefully at a negotiation table while maintaining complete readiness to fight if necessary. No other species can do that. Their military minds are always broadcasting aggressive intent openly." The officers exchanged glances as the reality of the situation dawned on them. "What happens now?" asked one of the male officers. Before Olivia could answer, the door opened. Elder Vosh entered with 2 security drones. "Ambassador Grant, the Concord Security Council requires your presence. We must discuss how to proceed." Olivia turned to Manning and his team. "You'll need to return to your ship and remain there during the summit. I'll handle this." "But," Manning began. "This isn't negotiable," Olivia said firmly. "Unless you want to cause an interstellar incident." Manning nodded reluctantly. "We'll comply." "Good luck, Ambassador." Elder Vosh led Olivia to a circular chamber, where 4 other elders waited, representing different member species of the Concord. They sat around a table made of some translucent material that glowed softly. "Ambassador Grant," said a reptilian, elder with iridescent scales. "I am Elder Sizak of the Vega Collective. We face a serious breach of trust." "I understand," Olivia said, taking the empty seat they indicated. "The human military presence was not authorized by Earth's government. Deputy Secretary Manning acted without proper authority." "That is not the core issue," said another elder, a small being with large eyes. "The issue is that after 50 years, humans still hide their true nature." Olivia took a deep breath. "With respect, elders, I don't believe we're hiding our nature. We simply experience it differently than you do." She activated her device again, projecting the comparative brain scans. Humans evolved as both cooperative beings and predators. This created a unique psychological characteristic, the ability to maintain multiple mental states simultaneously. The elders watched the display with intense focus. "What you perceive as deception is simply how our minds work," Olivia continued. "A human can genuinely desire peace while maintaining readiness for conflict. These aren't contradictory states for us." Elder Vosh leaned forward. "Yet for 50 years, Earth has hidden this truth from most of the galactic community. Only a few high-ranking officials knew the real reason behind your policy of never bringing military representatives." "That was a mistake," Olivia admitted. "One I hope to correct now." She stood up, looking at each elder in turn. "I request permission to address the full assembly, not to hide our nature, but to explain it honestly. It's time for transparency between Earth and the Conquered." The elders conferred quietly among themselves. Finally, Elder Vosh turned to Olivia. "Your request is granted, Ambassador Grant. The assembly will convene in 1 hour. This may be Earth's last chance to preserve its standing in the galactic community." As the elders departed, Olivia remained seated, gathering her thoughts. She had 1 hour to prepare a speech that might determine humanity's future among the stars. The great assembly hall of the Concorde station was unlike anything Olivia had ever seen. The chamber rose in 7 tiers, each filled with representatives from different worlds. The lighting adjusted automatically to suit the visual needs of each species. Some sections were bathed in red light, others in blue or ultraviolet. Olivia stood at the central podium, feeling the weight of hundreds of alien eyes upon her. Her pulse quickened as she realized that this moment could determine the future of human relations with the galactic community. Elder Vosh spoke first, his voice carried by translators to every corner of the hall. Representatives of the Concorde, we face an unprecedented situation. For the first time in 50 years, human military minds have entered a peace summit. Many of you have expressed concern or fear. Some have threatened to withdraw from the Concorde entirely. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Olivia could see representatives from at least 3 species rise in apparent protest. Ambassador Olivia Grant of Earth has requested the opportunity to address this assembly directly. The Council has granted this request. Elder Vosh turned to Olivia with a slight bow. Ambassador, you may speak. Olivia took a deep breath and activated the display system with her device. Above the assembly, a large holographic image appeared, showing side-by-side brain scans. Representatives of the Concorde, she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. 50 years ago, humanity learned something profound about ourselves, something we had never considered, because we had no point of comparison until we met other intelligent species. She gestured to the display. These are comparative brain scans. On the left, a human military officer at rest. On the right, the equivalent from an Arcturian military specialist. The differences were striking. The human brain showed complex, layered activity patterns with certain sections brightly lit, while others remained dimmer but still active. The Arcturian brain showed a more uniform pattern, with aggression centers clearly and consistently activated. What you see here explains why Earth has maintained its policy of never bringing military representatives to peace summits. It also explains why Deputy Secretary Manning's unauthorized military delegation caused such alarm. Olivia switched to a new image, a timeline of evolutionary paths. Most intelligent species in the galaxy evolved along one of 2 paths, either as apex predators who later developed cooperation, or as cooperative beings who developed tools for defense. Humans followed a unique 3rd path. We evolved as cooperative predators. She paused, letting this sink in. This created something unique in our psychology. Humans can maintain multiple mental states simultaneously. We can genuinely desire peace while maintaining readiness for conflict. These aren't contradictory states for us. A tall, bird-like being rose from the 4th tier. This is precisely what concerns us. Your kind can hide violent thoughts behind peaceful words. How can we trust beings who can deceive so completely? Olivia nodded respectfully to the speaker. From your perspective, I understand how this appears as deception, but it's simply how our minds work. When your security scanners detect a human military officer, they sense what we call compartmentalization, our ability to keep violent capabilities contained but ready, even while genuinely engaging in peaceful dialogue. An Arcturian representative stood next. Ambassador Grant, 50 years ago when we first encountered this trait, our security experts labeled humans as the most dangerous predator species ever encountered. Not because of your technology or strength, but because of this mental ability. A predator that can hide its nature is a universal threat. I understand your concern, Olivia replied. But I ask you to consider another perspective. This same trait that alarms you has allowed humans to build peaceful societies despite our predatory capabilities. It's not deception, it's control. She switched the display to show images of Earth, cities, farms, children playing in parks. Every human carries the capacity for violence, yet most never act on it. This mental compartmentalization you fear is the same ability that allows us to channel our predatory instincts into creativity, exploration, and yes, diplomacy. A ripple of conversation spread through the assembly. Some representatives appeared, thoughtful, Others remained skeptical. Elder Sizak of the Vega Collective rose to speak. Ambassador, while your explanation is fascinating, it does not address the immediate concern. Why, after 50 years of compliance, did Earth suddenly send military representatives? It was not Earth's decision, Olivia explained. Deputy Secretary Manning acted without authorization. He believed our policy made us appear weak. He didn't understand the true reason behind it. This caused another stir in the assembly. Are you saying, asked a small blue-skinned representative from the lower tier, that your own government hides this information from its officials? Olivia nodded. Yes. After the first contact incident, Earth's leadership classified the information. Only those with the highest security clearance knew the truth. That was a mistake, one I hope to correct. She straightened her shoulders and looked around the chamber. I propose a new approach. Instead of hiding our nature, Earth should be transparent about it. Yes, human minds work differently than yours. Yes, we can compartmentalize violence in ways you find unsettling. But this trait also makes us valuable allies. Elder Vosh stepped forward. What are you suggesting, Ambassador Grant? I'm suggesting that Earth will maintain its policy of not bringing military representatives to peace summits out of respect for how our psychology affects other species. But in return, I ask the conquered to acknowledge that our mental differences are not deception. They're simply another form of diversity in our galaxy. The assembly hall grew quiet as representatives considered her words. Then, from the highest tier, a new voice spoke. A tall, slender being with translucent skin stood. Olivia recognized the species from her studies. A Quantar, one of the oldest and most respected civilizations in the Conquered. I am Elder Mix, the being said, its voice melodic. For centuries, we Quantar have studied the psychological patterns of sentient species. Ambassador Grant speaks truth about human nature. The elder descended slowly to the central floor, standing near Olivia. When humans first joined the galactic community, some of us advocated for their exclusion precisely because of this trait. But over 50 years we have observed, humans have honored their commitment. They have shown that this mental ability can be used for discipline rather than deception. Elder Mix turned to address the entire assembly. Perhaps it is time we evolved our own understanding. The very trait that makes humans dangerous also makes them unique allies. They can desire peace completely while maintaining vigilance completely. Few species can do both simultaneously. Olivia felt a weight lifting from her shoulders as more representatives began to nod or make their species equivalent gestures of agreement. Elder Vosh raised his long arms for silence. The council will consider Ambassador Grant's proposal. For now, the unauthorized military delegation will remain confined to their ship. The summit will proceed as scheduled tomorrow. As the assembly dispersed, Olivia found herself surrounded by curious representatives, some still wary, but many now interested rather than afraid. For the first time since humans had joined the galactic community, they were discussing their true nature openly. Perhaps, she thought, this crisis might become an opportunity for greater understanding after all. Morning on the Conquered station was an artificial construct. The lighting gradually brightened to simulate sunrise, though outside the viewports, the stars remained fixed against the blackness of space. Olivia had barely slept. She had spent most of the night preparing for the summit's opening session. A soft chime at her door indicated a visitor. When she opened it, Deputy Secretary Manning stood there, looking both tired and humbled. Ambassador Grant, he said with a stiff nod. I've come to apologize. Olivia stepped aside to let him enter her quarters. I'm listening. Manning walked in, his shoulders slumped. I was wrong. I thought our policy made us look weak. I had no idea about the psychological differences, the brain scans, any of it. That was the problem, Olivia said. Too few people knew the truth. Secrecy led to misunderstanding. The officers and I have been confined to our ship since yesterday, but we've been allowed to watch the feed from the assembly. Manning looked directly at her. You handled it brilliantly, explaining rather than apologizing. Before Olivia could respond, Her communication device chimed. It was Elder Vosh. Ambassador Grant, the Council has reached a decision. Please join us in the chamber immediately. 30 minutes later, Olivia stood once again before the Concord Security Council. The 5 elders sat in a semicircle, their faces unreadable to human eyes. Ambassador Grant, Elder Vosh began, we have deliberated through the night. This situation has forced us to reconsider 50 years of policy regarding human interaction with the galactic community. Olivia held her breath, waiting. The Council has decided to accept your proposal. Earth may maintain its practice of sending only civilian representatives to peace summits. However, we will no longer hide the reason. A full explanation of human, psychological differences will be added to the Concord's educational databases, available to all member species. Elder Sizak, the reptilian member, spoke next. However, we have an additional requirement. We propose a new diplomatic exchange program. Selected representatives from various species will visit Earth for extended periods to better understand human civilization. In return, human diplomats will spend time on our worlds. The goal, said Elder Mix, the translucent Quantar, is greater understanding. Fear thrives in ignorance. Perhaps with knowledge, the trait that makes humans unique will become less frightening to others. Olivia couldn't hide her smile. Earth would welcome such an exchange, elders. Thank you for your wisdom and openness. There is one more matter, said Elder Vosh, Deputy Secretary Manning and his officers. Olivia's smile faded. What about them? Several member species have demanded they be banned from the station entirely. However, the Council believes this would contradict our new spirit of understanding. Elder Vosh's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Therefore, we propose a compromise. 2 hours later, Olivia stood at the entrance to the main summit hall. The doors were about to open for the first official session. Beside her stood Manning, looking uncomfortable in civilian clothes. Are you sure about this? He asked nervously. The Council's compromise is fair, Olivia replied. You and your officers may attend as observers only, in civilian dress, and with the understanding that scanners will monitor your brain patterns. Manning nodded. And these results will be shown to other species? Yes, as a demonstration of human mental compartmentalization in action. It's part of the new educational initiative. The doors opened, and they entered the Grand Hall together. Representatives from 17 civilizations turned to watch them. Some still showed signs of discomfort, but curiosity seemed to have replaced fear in many. The summit proceeded smoothly after that. For 5 days, representatives discussed trade, exploration rights, scientific cooperation, and conflict resolution in distant sectors. Manning and his officers observed quietly, sometimes answering direct questions about human perspective, but mostly learning. On the final day, as delegates prepared to depart, Olivia was approached by a tall Tellurian she hadn't spoken with before. Ambassador Grant, the alien said with a respectful gesture. I am Jackson, cultural attaché. May we speak privately? Olivia followed Jackson to a quiet viewing area overlooking the docking bays. Ships of various designs were preparing for departure, their lights blinking against the darkness of space. You have changed things, Jackson said, his long fingers gesturing toward the activity below. For 50 years, most species have been quietly terrified of humans, even while trading and cooperating. With you, I didn't realize the fear ran so deep, Olivia admitted. Of course not. We hid it just as your kind hid your reasons. Jackson turned to face her directly. Do you know why we really feared human military minds? Because we can compartmentalize. Violence while appearing peaceful, Olivia answered. That is part of it, Jackson said, but not the whole truth. What truly terrifies us is not just that you can hide violent thoughts, it's that you can direct them with such precision. The Tellurian moved closer. In our long history, we've encountered many predator species, but none who could choose peace so completely when it suited them. That level of control makes you unpredictable in ways we're still learning to comprehend. Is that a bad thing? Olivia asked. It is unsettling, but also fascinating. Jackson made a gesture Olivia didn't recognize. The exchange program will help us understand. Perhaps in time what we now find alien in your psychology will become familiar. As Earth's delegation prepared to depart the next day, Olivia stood, with Manning in the shuttle bay. The crisis had been averted and a new era of understanding had begun. "What happens when we get home?" Manning asked. "Will the Security Council declassify everything about Protocol Prometheus?" "They've already agreed to it," Olivia said. "No more secrets. Earth's unusual psychology will be taught openly in our diplomatic training." "And the military?" Manning asked. "You'll still stay home during peace summits," Olivia said with a smile. "But not because we're hiding something. Rather out of respect for how our minds affect others." As their shuttle pulled away from the station, Olivia watched the massive structure recede into the distance. She thought about Jackson's words. Humans were predators who could choose peace completely when it suited them. It was both their greatest strength and what made them appear threatening. Earth would always be viewed with a complex mixture of respect, wariness, and fascination by the galactic community. But now at least that relationship would be built on honesty, rather than fear and secrecy. Their ship accelerated toward the jump point that would take them back to Earth. Olivia smiled to herself. Humanity's unique place in the galaxy wasn't about having the strongest weapons or the fastest ships. It was about their minds, complex, compartmentalized, capable of both great violence and profound peace. Different, yes. But difference didn't have to mean danger. It could also mean possibility.